The question is, what was I looking for this? What was I looking for, and kind of like what I found through this experience. Um, so maybe I should talk a little bit about like our constraints for our own protocol. Um, Livepeer has a pretty complex set of smart contracts. We have a delegated proof of stake um, protocol implemented in Solidity on chain, which introduces some limitations around the amount of gas that we have to spend. Um, so, for example, we have this idea of rounds, and then at the beginning of a round, think of rounds as like a number of blocks, say 50 blocks. At the beginning of a round, somebody has to initialize that round, and that requires a lot of calculation for the initialization. And I found some really interesting solutions today that kind of address that problem, kind of ranging from solutions that will be available in a couple months to kind of the solutions that will be available in a couple years. So like the POA stuff is really interesting. I think the idea of like you can offload some of your smart contract computation onto a chain that's a little cheaper, and then write the result back on chain with some compromise in the security of the calculation. But if you are smart about scoping the calculation and making sure the attack surface is small, maybe that's a worthwhile compromise to make in the early days of a project. So like a solution that's a little sooner. The solution that's coming later, I think the counterfactual guys are working on something really interesting. I don't know if we would be able to use it because it requires everyone to like open up a multi-sig channel to start. But I think state channels in general would be obviously a really interesting long-term solution for a lot of these like gas issues. And another team that we work really closely with is the TrueBit team, because we use the TrueBit compute network to do the validation of our transcoding. And we've been working with them for a while. A couple of weeks ago, I actually went to visit them at their hacker house and created a prototype. So that it's always good to see progress from that team. So overall, it's been a great experience. Also learned a lot about things that I don't know much about. The plasma talk was really interesting. I think I still have to ask a bunch of questions to really understand how we need to use it. But yeah, it's been great.
Okay, so next, do you think there's a specific scaling solution that you're going to implement? And if so, is there a difference between the short-term solution that you're going to pursue and the long-term solution?
Yeah. Do I think there is a scaling solution that I will implement? Absolutely. I think I'm interested in doing a prototype for the POA solution. It might require some like re-architecting of our smart contracts, but I think if we can separate out the part that's really computationally intensive and offload it onto a POA chain, that might be able to save our users a lot of gas, which might be a worthwhile trade-off when we first start. Another thing that we're working on is implementing a TrueBit kind of proof of concept with the TrueBit team. So I hope we'll have something to show on that front soonish. And then I'm always looking for new solutions. So I think when the state channel solutions come out, I'd love to check it out and do a prototype.
So ideally, where would you like to see that development in 6 years, and where would you like to see that development in 2 years?
In 6 years and 2 years.
6 months.
Okay. Where would I like to see it in 6 months versus in 2 years? I think in 6 months, hopefully we would have some like plasma, minimal plasma uh, prototypes that we can start playing around with. Um, I think the funfair guys have implemented some kind of a state channel that I'm interested in talking to them more about, and I think that will be ready in a couple months, which is cool. And definitely, I think the POA stuff is gonna be ready in 6 months. I want to try that. In 2 years, it's really hard to say because the space moves so quickly. So it's hard to say what's gonna be available in 2 years. Maybe all of our problems will be solved by sharding. Who knows?
So
Yeah.
at this point, you could just go over briefly how you thought the event was put together, whether it was helpful to you, what you thought of the general organization, sort of, everything from us being in a lot of different places to the less organized feel of it. Just any feedback that you have for us on that.
Yeah. So my feedback about the event as a whole and my experience, I would say it's pretty great to see like everyone kind of come together from all over the world to this event, and it's not like a hugely organized thing where there's like a lot of programmed content, and it's very grassroots. It really reminds me of this event that I went to last year, which was the Swarm Summit with the Ethereum Swarm team. Very similar vibe. A small group of people all working on something that's related. We all have very similar needs and goals, and we're just kind of here like trading notes, asking other people what their approaches are, sharing our experiences, and I think in a lot of ways that's a lot more useful than like going to a bigger conference and just listening to talks, right? Because when you're at an event, I think the most important thing is the most valuable thing for me at least is meeting the people who are actually building things and learning from everyone and sharing our notes.
Okay, so just a slight follow-up to that. You mentioned that one of the things that you value from this event was being able to meet people and sort of network in that way. Are there any specific groups that you think that you'll work with or collaborate with just based on having come together at this event?
Yeah. Is there any particular groups that I think I will work with? Yes. So I actually just had a conversation with the Parity guys, and they told me that their POA bridge will be ready in about a month. So I will definitely be pinging them in a month. And like I said, we already work with the True Bit guys, so it's always good to continue that relationship and collaborate.